bank audit, which is an important and time-bound assignment for all our professional brethren, which will be commenced in a week time from now. Considering the importance, we, the Visakhapatnam branch, has conducted 5 sessions on bank audit and 1 workshop in bank audit covering all the aspects of bank audit like recent changes in LFER, RBI master circulars, IRAC norms and classification of advances, audit under CBS environment, audit certification, so on and so forth. Today's session also very much useful with regard to auditing standards with reference to bank audit and expectations of central auditors from branch auditors. For example, when we have material findings affecting the profit and loss account or the balance sheet, we need to mention through memorandum of changes. But due to the branch head repeated requests or with our kind-heartedness, we may mention in LFAR instead of putting it in MOC, which is not accepted by the central auditors because of clarity and improper reporting. Similarly, there are many other directions and expectations which central auditors will be having from branch auditors. To enlighten about all those, we have experienced statutory central auditor and eminent speaker, CA Gopal Krishna Raju, with us today. With his deliberations, the members attended this seminar will surely have better understanding about the topic by the end of this session. CA Gopal Krishna Raju is always kind enough to accept our request of Visakhapatnam branch to address our members whenever we invite him. Thank you very much, sir, for accepting our request. Members, we, the Visakhapatnam branch, have submitted the comments and suggestions with reference to exposure draft on standard for audit of smaller and less complex entities, SASLCE. I thank CA VSN Murthy Garu, CA TLN Bharti Garu, CA Ainar Banpal, CA Avinash Gudwada, and many other members for their active contributions and suggestions in this regard. Visakhapatnam branch can proudly say, earlier also the views from members of Visakhapatnam branch considered positively during the fine print of tax audit and bank audit guidance notes by ICAI. Now I request the Vice Chairman of Visakhapatnam branch, CA Vasudev Murthy Garu, to introduce the speaker of today's session.
A very good evening, sir. CA Dr. Gopal Krishna Raju is a practicing chartered accountant, registered insolvency professional and registered valuer from Chennai. GKR is the tax assurance and restructuring partner in Messrs. K. Gopal Ranko Chartered Accountant, a public accounting firm with branches at Mumbai, Bangalore, Hyderabad, Madurai, Tiruchirappalli, and Tiruvallur. GKR hails from a family of chartered accountants. His father, mother, young brother, and wife all are practicing chartered accountants. GKR served consecutive 3 terms of 9 years from 2010 to 2019 as a SIRC Council member, the Institute of Chartered Accountants of India. GKR have been recently awarded honorary doctorate in governance of GST in government sector by St. Mother Teresa University, Melbourne, Australia. GKR is the independent director data bank and have qualified with the distinction on online provision self-assessment test conducted by the Indian Institute of Corporate Affairs under the aegis of Ministry of Corporate Affairs, Government of India. He is having so many other qualifications. He is qualified valuation examination of insolvency and bankruptcy board of India, qualified limited insolvency examination of insolvency and bankruptcy board of India, the associate member of the Institute of Cost Accountant of India with All India rank in intermediate examination. He is associate member of the Institute of Company Secretary of India. He is having a twin postgraduate diploma in operational research and in financial management from Pondicherry University. He is MPhil management from Tamil Nadu Open University. He is a qualified information systems auditor from the Institute of Chartered Accountants of India and qualified post-qualification course in international trade laws and World Trade Organization from ICA. He holds 8 NSC certification in financial market from National Stock Exchange of India Limited. For example, capital markets, derivatives market, securities market, FIMDA, NSE debt market, and commodity market, MP mutual funds, and corporate government modules. So GKR authored 2 books, Standard Costing and Variance Analysis for Professional Students, and First Lessons of Information Technology for CA students, with 2 editions of by Snowbite Publishers, Mumbai. GKR is the seasoned speaker of information technology, finance and taxation, and a visiting guest faculty for numerous institutions, corporates, and business schools. GKR is a member of the Institute of Directors of Bombay Chartered Accountants Society and Madras Management Association, and life member of the Society of Auditors, the Chartered Accountant Study Circle, and the active Rotarian. He has been nominated to various organizations for like finance and taxation panel member of the FICCI, Tamil Nadu State Council, chairman Valuation Standards Board of Indian Institute of Valuation Foundation, academic board, Department of Commerce, Loyola College, Autonomous, Chennai, and academic advisory board, SNDB, Vaishnavi College for Women, Chennai, academic board, CVET College, Chennai, Board of Studies, New College, Autonomous, Chennai, Board of Studies, Guru Nanak College, Autonomous, Chennai, Audit Advisory Board, and Director General of Audit, Chennai, Executive Committee, Center for Entrepreneurial Development, Anna University, Chennai, is Expert Committee on Corporate, Elliott Laws, CSR Government and Ethics of Hindustan Chamber of Commerce. He is a steering committee member in Institute of Directors of Chennai. He is a passionate writer on technology and taxation in numerous journals and newspapers, and is a columnist in Tamil Nadu, the Hindu Tamil and weekly Tamil magazines, Nainam Vikatan and Putia, Dalmurai Kalvi, and he is also regularly interviewed in numerous TV channels and Tamil FM radio, including DD Puthingal and JR TV, News 18 Tamil Nadu, Kaveri News, and FM and Rainbow. So, as a versatile speaker, GKR have addressed more than 500 plus meetings on GST to various forums, including professional bodies, Chamber of Commerce, Industry and Trade Association, both English and Tamil. He can be reached Gopal Krishna Raju, CA at gmail.com. So, with this brief introduction, I am introducing GKR, G. Gopal Krishna Raju Garu, to the August participants in the webinar. Thank you, Chairman, for giving me this opportunity.
Thank you, sir. Now I request the speaker to take up the session.
Yeah, thank you. The chairman of Visakhapatnam branch of SARC of ICI, CAS Murali Krishna Garu, Vice Chairman, very respected CAG Vasudeva Murthy Garu, Secretary CA Prashant Kumar, and immediate past Chairman CA Bharati Devi, and a host of senior members belonging to Visakhapatnam branch of SARC. My friends, fellow members, very, very warm good evening to one and all. At the outset, let me thank Visakhapatnam branch, which is always very close to my heart. I remember the time of the regional conference, which happened during the chairmanship of CAD Prasanna Kumar Garu. So at that point of time, I was part of the executive committee, and the kind of the fellowship and the affection that was showered and the kind of exuberance and energy that was demonstrated by each and every member there, especially the past chairmen. very few branches in SIRC where past chairmen stand as a pillar. And Visakhapatnam branch is one such branch where the past chairmen are the asset for the branch, and their experience in handling the branch situation, they come forward and give the maximum support, and their experiences they share to the coming next generation of leaders. And I'm sure that is the foremost success of Visakhapatnam branch, the kind of activities they have been doing so far. Coming to today's topic, this is a very big topic. Expectations of bank and the central auditors from the bank branch auditors. This will be the topic. Along with that, I will also try to share some of the very important points with respect to standards on auditing also. I think this is one topic which is ignored, especially on the standards on auditing, but I'll try to connect the requirements in standards on auditing with respect to the bank branch audit activities. Before I start my presentation, I want to make one very important observation. This is the date 5th September 2020, which is the Teachers' Day, okay, celebrated across the country. On that particular day, we have got a very important notification. Reserve Bank of India has brought a notification, and I will only highlight certain aspects from the topic perspective. So I'll pick up certain aspects and I'll try to share my thoughts. And being part of a central audit firm, and we also have a very senior person as part of he brings along with him. And I am sure these deliberations, Mr. Murthigar also will join with me in supplementing whatever I'm sharing here. This particular notification, which was brought out on 5th of September 2020, they have brought this as two annexures. One is the annexure for long form audit report for central statutory auditors. And the second annexure is the long form audit report by the branch auditors. And I want to make one observation that point one, point two, in the branch audit, there will be the MOC. So the memorandum of changes, what we call it as, in short, we call it as the financial adjustment. The financial adjustment in maybe profit and loss account or balance sheet. So that financial adjustment is presented separately or reported separately or captured separately as a memorandum of changes, because once the accounts are closed and the reports are generated and then the audit happens, the MOC plays a very important role. Now, I'll keep that as one factor. The another factor which, because there is a connect between or a communication between, it is actually a written communication between the branch auditors and the central auditors. So the communication is the MOC, and the second communication is the long form audit report. And very rightly, Reserve Bank of India has brought out this year, I will say silently. Maybe the pandemic time has given very good amount of thought for Reserve Bank of India people to come out with well thought out and well designed long form audit report format. And this year, this format is going to be a very important aspect for one reason. It is not going to be like last year. Generally, what we will do is we will take the last year long form audit report, LFAR, and Control C, Control V. Okay, so all those stuff will be done. And maybe we will select the financial year and change the financial year and all this stuff. Many aspects will be no comments or not applicable. Many things are like that, and some of the comments are copy pasted. So this makes long form audit report a ritual, a routine aspect. But today's the deliberation which I'm going to make, the way at which I'm going to see this LFAR, new LFAR format, especially from the perspective of the branch auditors' communication to the central auditors, I will highlight some of the very important aspects. And there are many things I want to discuss, but since already these aspects would have been covered in the previous sessions, I will only focus on some of the important aspects. Now, to start with, I want to bring your kind attention. I'll take two standards. I will first, I want to share at least minimum 10 to 20 pointers as a take home by each and every one of you. So to start with, I will start with two standards, very important reference I want to give. One is SA 240, another is SA 530. So what is SA 240? What is SA 530? So I'll just share with you, this is SA, this is the entire standards on auditing. I'll share with you the 240. So this is your SA 240. What is SA 240? It is auditors' responsibilities relating to fraud in an audit of financial statement. So this is a very important aspect. Why? Because I want to bring your kind attention to LFAR. So this is actually our latest LFAR technical guide. So this is the technical guide on the revised format of long form audit report, which is actually a 157 page document. So I wish all of you have a copy of this with you, and whenever you carry. I understand that the kind of guidance note on banks and the technical guide itself will be almost like a CA final syllabus, but I will make this very simple. I'll make this very simple, and I'm sure over a period of a week or 10 days, reading a few pages, I'll highlight only some of those very important pointers so that you'll be in a position to actually appreciate the main aspects. So especially in LFAR, the item number, para number 4. So para number 4 speaks about frauds general. So which has 1, 2, 3, 4 points are there. So these are the points I just want to first share with all of you. So before starting this particular point, I will take you to this particular standard. Now, I want to give 3 points. Number one, in this, during the course of audit, a fraud has been identified. Okay, so in the accounts. So what to do? Now, situation one, the fraud is already identified and reported, and you have come across. Second situation, there is no such fraud that has been identified, but you have come across during the course of audit. And third aspect, very important actually, which is you consider that the activities that is happening in the account, the advance account, whether it is CC, OD or term loan or whatever it is, you identify certain activities, certain controls are lapsed, certain information or indicating that it is like early warning signal. So it has to be flagged. So red flagged accounts, RFA. So 3. 1, it is already reported or a fraud has been identified and you come across. Second, it has not been identified, but during the course of audit, you have captured some inputs. And number 3, you consider certain activities are suspicious. Controls are not there. The data integrity, this particular word, I want to actually spend a lot of time because your LFAR focus more on this. So I will not read this entire standard, but I will bring to your kind attention only one paragraph. That paragraph is paragraph A6. This is A. Please look at this. This is A6, paragraph A6. So I will leave all this stuff to all of you to read. Please look at this application and other explanatory material. So in this A1, A2, A3, A4, A5, A6. Now, this is the para I want all of you to pay your kind attention. The auditor may at times be required to, by a legislation or a regulation, to make a specific assertion in respect of frauds or by the entity in his report. Actually, this line pertains to the CARO. So where fraud has to be reported, and also under Companies Act 143, subsection 12. So that part I'm not going to discuss. Now, similarly, please look at this. Similarly, in the case of audit of banks, okay, the auditors, in terms of circular number, etc., 2001-2, is required to report to the Reserve Bank of India. Please, this is what I want everybody's attention. Anything susceptible to fraud or fraudulent activity or act of excess power or any foul play in any transaction. Very, very general terms, very general terms. So that means in the mindset of or with the experience of the chartered accountant, with the experience of the auditor, when you decide, okay, that the transactions, that is why I want to make one observation at branch audit level. What is expected by bank? What is expected by the central statutory auditor? Okay, only two things are expected. Only two things are expected, and this is what the branch auditors are supposed to communicate through their reports. Number one, may I put a simple question to all of you, that is it possible to do 100% audit? Answer is no. The answer is no. It is not possible. So it is not possible to do a 100% audit. So let us be very clear about it. So then what next? So what next? So you are only expected to do a transaction testing. I repeat the word called transaction testing. So what is that you have to test? That is the next one. Number one, transaction testing. Number two, adequacy of controls. See, even though reports are generated at headquarters level, at data center, at the touch of a button from data centers, the reports can be pulled out for all the, if there are 1,400 branches. So I can consolidately, I can take the reports. But please understand, even though reports can be generated at HO level, the inputs, the data is input at the branch level. So therefore, the transaction happens at branch level. Data is input at the branch level. So the concept is called as input control. And who can actually be the best person to actually give assurance to the bank as well as to the central auditors, because two things gets consolidated. One is, for example, if there are 1,800 branches and each branch is, they are brought out with the MOC. MOC will be consolidated. And the second consolidation that happens is the LFAR consolidation. And LFAR consolidation, again, at the headquarters level, they will classify the LFAR into, I will call it as 1, 2, 3. One is those which is not, which is a routine reporting. Routine reporting will just get consolidated. So it is a, I will call it as a routine affair. Okay. And the exceptional. So there are two extreme. One is normal. Another is the exceptional inputs which are captured in LFAR. And this year is going to be very different. Why very different? I'm sure many of you are going to report left and right in your LFAR, because I'm going to refer to some of the very important pointers now. Please look at this. Consequently, in such cases, the auditor's responsibility may not be limited to consideration of risk of material misstatement, but may also include a broader responsibility to consider risk of fraud. So this aspect I'm going to blow. I'm going to actually magnify. This para alone, I'm going to magnify. So please bring your kind attention to this LFAR part 4, which is called frauds. And please look at this. Frauds are detected, classified, okay, but confirmation of the reporting to RBI not available on record at branch. So then what to be done? Please look at this. The instances of fraud detected during the year wherein the confirmation for reporting the same to RBI is not made available to auditor, same should be reported in LFAR. So you report in LFAR, what is it? Detected, but confirmation reporting to RBI not available on record at branch. So whether it has been escalated. If it is not escalated, it is the auditor's responsibilities as per LFAR to bring it to the attention. So once it has been brought in LFAR, you are actually informing two persons. One is the bank you are informing, and also the central auditors you are informing. Now please look at the next point. Whether any suspected or likely fraud cases are reported by branch to higher office, if yes, provide the details. So this is actually you have to take that input and then report the list of such cases. So which is only a repetitive one. Okay. Now please look at the next one. In respect of fraud, based on your overall observation, please provide your comments. Very, very, very important. Very important. So I think this is one place which your essay 240, para A6, and this paragraph has a connector. So in respect of fraud, based on your overall observation, please provide your comments on the potential risk areas which might lead to perpetuation of fraud, like falsification of accounts, false representation by the borrower, misappropriation of funds, especially through related party transactions. And this is a place where when you go through the file, especially the borrower's files, a lot of financial statements, inputs would have been available, will be available. And by going through that, your what do you call it, as the audit instinct will actually in Hindi mein, if I tell, it is called dimag ka batti chala degi. So it will actually glow the bulb in your head. Okay, so all this, when you look at the financial statements, and I'm sure you will get the right attitude to actually pinpoint any one of this: forgery, fabrication of financial documents like invoices, debtors list, stock statements, trade credit documents. And these things, even though it is so wide, Now I want to come to the next aspect. Now I have, sir, there are 19 very big accounts or very big borrowers, and out of 19, which I have to select? Should I have to do all 19? No, it is not 19, it is 90 accounts. So it is a big branch. And each borrower is minimum 5 crores to 50 crores. So which one shall I take? So again, they say that is called sampling. That is SA 5, that I'll come to that. And your LFAR vouchers supports audit sampling. Audit sampling, it supports. So, but the aspect is how you actually ensure that your sample is a true representation of the population. So we need to be very careful here. So please look at this. So use of current account outside consortium, where trust and retention account is maintained, list of debtors, creditors fabricated, receivables not followed up, write-off of debt of related parties, especially in your financial statements, fake bills, especially export bills, overstatement of invoice, stock statement, shipping bills, turnover, fly-by-night operations, including the case where vendors, etc. So they are giving very wide. So it is actually a very big list of illustration. And they say, based on the various areas covered in the audit, especially advances, auditor should report such discrepancies and control lapses, which may lead to perpetuation of fraud. Please understand one thing in this particular para, and I want all of you to note this A6 also. Anything susceptible to fraud. It is not fraud. It is susceptible, meaning it may lead to. It may lead to. So you need not conclude that it is a fraud, because the moment you say it is a fraud, then that means you need to actually collect evidence with respect to what do you call it, as asset misappropriation, funds misappropriation, so all this stuff. So anything susceptible to fraud, anything fraudulent activity, act of excess power, foul play. This is a very, very general term. It is very subjective. So that is why I'm connecting this paragraph here. So with SA 240, para A6 with LFAR part number 4, especially this particular part. And what is the recommendation of our institute here? So this is a technical guide, and what you are supposed to write in this third para. What you are supposed to write? Will you write saying no, not applicable, not found? Okay. Any discrepancies, the auditor should report discrepancies and control lapses. I mentioned this particular. What is expected at the branch auditors level? Branch auditors level, only two things are expected, both by the bank as well as by the central auditors. One, the transaction testing. I repeat the word, transaction testing. So you can you go through the file, go through the amount that has been advanced during the year, whether it has been used, whether the end purpose for which it has been sanctioned for has been utilized. Try to verify with one or two examples, and you find discrepancies. That no, the money has been not used for the rest. What is actually WCTL, working capital term loan, but the payment is given to one such particular party. Now, who is that particular party? In what way it is connected to working capital? So we don't know. So then you have to actually just list it out. Let the banker come and say, no, sir, that particular transaction is not a discrepancy. It is not a control lapse. It is actually this. Let them explain. So your LFAR is going to be, and that is actually a red flag. So what you are actually bringing out here is a very important activity, which may lead to perpetuation of fraud. Okay, so you need not bother about it. No. Will it be a fraud? Will it lead to perpetuation of fraud? No, from your perspective. So that is why what you understand and appreciate from the records, that is most important. Because records is final. So that is the ultimate. So that records only speak, and your conclusion is based on what is there on paper there. So that is most important here. So very, very interesting point, which I want to bring it to your kind attention, because this is new. This time it is new. And this particular para, you are at liberty. As branch auditors, you are at liberty to actually report the discrepancies. So whatever you feel, for example, there are 4 accounts. There are 90 accounts. You have selected 10 accounts. And out of 10 accounts, you have identified certain discrepancies in 4 accounts. Please bring that out. And I want to take you to another para. Please look at para 4. Whether the system of early warning framework, I repeat, whether the system of early warning framework is working effectively as required. The early warning signals form the basis of classifying an account as an RFA. Okay, so that is red flag accounts. Okay, now I want to bring your kind attention to one of the reports. Please look at this. I have just listed out some of the reports at the back office you have to actually take a illustrative list of special purpose or exception reports in CBS. And one such report which I want to bring it to your kind attention is this. Please look at this. There are many things I want to discuss. So with the available time, with whatever little available time, I'll go up to maximum 6 o'clock. We are now at 5:15. Another 45 minutes I'll try to discuss. Red flagged accounts since more than 6 months. So that means last year audit already it has been red flagged. And it's more than 6 months. So what is the status? So you have to even pull that out. I repeat, you have to actually pull that out. And I want to bring it to your kind attention one very important aspect, that when I was mentioning about 2 things, that what is expected from the branch auditors. Number 1, the transaction testing. Okay. And number 2, the adequacy of controls. I repeat, adequacy of controls. Now I want to make one observation here. See, reports can be pulled out from the headquarters. So from head office, reports can be pulled out, but the data are entered at the branch level. So whether the data is having the integrity, data integrity is there, the integrity control is there, the input control is there. That is the most important aspect. And I want to bring your kind attention to the para number, part number 6, please. Part number 6. I want all of you to kind attention to. This is part number 5. Please look at part number 6. Yeah. So this is what will you write here? See, this is actually only one Part 6, only one A. Well, that's only A. There is no other multiple points. Huh? But what will you write for this? Whether the branch has proper systems and procedures, please. And please, branch has proper systems and procedures. And who can write? It's only the branch auditors can write. I repeat, it's only the branch auditors can write. And the branch auditors has to do transaction testing. Branch auditors has to do the adequacy of internal controls, adequacy of controls, adequacy of the data integrity controls, adequacy of the input controls. So what is it? Okay, what is it? So let me actually clarify here. So the concept of the bank audit over a period of time has actually matured a lot. I must say, matured a lot, and especially this year. This year, it is at the peak of maturity. And please look at whether the branch has the proper systems and procedures to ensure data integrity. This is the word, very important word. And this assurance is what bank expects from the branch auditors. Please, this is LFAR. And in LFAR, it is expected. And will you say, yes, the systems and procedures are there? Now, how will you verify it? So that is why I'll take you to the various reports. So maybe I just want to share with you at least 20 to 30 reports, but let me share with you some of the very important aspects. For example, please look at this report. Look at this. Non-delinking of ad hoc facility sanctioned on expiry. So I want to, especially this year, 2021, pandemic year, I'm sure a lot of ad hoc facilities would have been given. Apart from that Atmanirbhar, that 20%, what do you call it as the limit without additional security, with the existing security, they can go for an extra 20% WCTL with 1 year or 2 year moratorium and 3 years repayment schedule, or all this stuff is there. So I will not go into the scheme part. Apart from that, there would have also been the multiple temporary ODs, ad hoc sanctions that would have been given. But my observation to you is, please look at this. See, the point which I want all of you to pay your kind attention is ensure data integrity. How do I ensure data integrity? Now, I want your kind attention to this particular. The MIS reports, though generated by IT departments centrally, these reports are based on the input at the branch. And the input controls are very crucial. I repeat, gentlemen, ladies and gentlemen, my dear fellow professional brothers and sisters and senior members, this is very crucial. And the input controls of the branch are very crucial. And that is, and the central auditors will not be in a position to actually test this. And banks will not be in a position to test this. So the testing can be done only by the branch auditors. And how will you do that? I'll give some of the examples. So, I want to actually bring to your attention one more very, very important aspect also, that is SA 530 also I will discuss. SA 530. SA 530 is with respect to audit sampling. And I want to make one observation to all of my fellow brothers and sisters, especially professional brothers and sisters, that audit sampling is considered as one of the principal method of auditing. And don't jump to conclusions that no, I have to do 100% audit. Never it is possible with a limited available time. This is technology-based information. So therefore, the expectation of auditors, you do only test check. You do only test check. And test check of what? Test check of transactions and test checks of the adequacy of controls. So please look at this. The input controls of the branch are very crucial. Now, how? I'm giving you an example. Please look at this. Non-delinking of ad hoc facility. Now I'll give you an example. Example number one. Example number one is what is during the year 2021. 1st April 20 to 31st March 2021. How many ad hoc facilities have been given? So account number, okay, so customer number, okay, what is the facility, date of facility given, what is the ad hoc amount, okay, when it was availed, and when it was closed. And please look at this, non-delinking of ad hoc facility sanctioned on expiry, non-delinking. So if it is not delinked, it means it can be rolled over. It can be rolled over. So is it a ad hoc sanction, one of a kind, or is it a ad hoc sanction which can be rolled over? Very important point. So therefore, this kindly ensure. How to ensure? Take reports. So how do sometimes I want to bring to your attention that when all this computerization started, okay, when all this computerization started in banks, at that particular point of time, every bank will have, every branch for that matter, will have a system manual, which is actually a booklet. And I'm sure Mr. Vasudeva Murthy Garu will agree with me that those olden days, that system manual, the people used to refer, and that book will actually will be torn to pages and all. So they'll go for a second copy, photocopy and all. So that used to be the time. And I'm speaking about 20 years back. But over a period of time, that necessity for a system manual has slowly come down, because the system manual would have gone for a lot of upgradation. Every year, the system manual will go for minimum 4 or 5 times version upgradation. So every time your system manual will be updated, and there will be a new system manual. So that is why system manual, taking a printout and putting keeping it as a spiral book like this and keeping it, because that will come to 1,500 pages. It will be even bigger than our guidance note on audit of banks. So that module is now available only in soft form. And I want your kind attention, guys. I want your kind attention. Whenever there is a virtual meeting with the central auditors or banks, please ensure to get a copy of the latest system manual in PDF format, in soft format. A copy should be given to all the auditors. And especially in that particular system manual, there will be a 100-page or 200-page booklet or pages with respect to the audit module. The audit module, or with respect to the various business intelligence tools. I repeat, it is called BI tools. I repeat, BI tools, which are reports which is customized by the respective system developers with the interaction with auditors and with the bankers. They would have developed what do you call it as a BI tools. So and sometimes these tools will have a customized reporting format, and sometimes you can use those tools to pull out those reports which is required for your purpose, which is actually very, very significant in this particular audit activity, and pulling out those reports. So I'm just giving some of the highlight examples what reports you have to actually pull out. But these are very, very sensitive, very, very informative from the perspective of giving your comments on the data integrity, relating to all data inputs which are used for MIS or corporate. So data are input at branch level, which is used for the reporting. So there is a concept called GIGO. GIGO means garbage in, garbage out. So if at the branch level the data are garbage, the report at the headquarters will be garbage. So if the data at the branch level is good data, the report at the headquarters level will be a good output or a good report. So that is the objective of this particular para. And have you, this is a very important question. So whether the branch has proper systems, yes or no, for that you need to have a test check. So it is not that I will give a standard answer as yes or Y. Yeah? Okay. So I need to give a confirmation based on certain reports. I will just share with you maybe one another very interesting report. Please look at this. Multiple TODs sanctioned for a customer. This is very interesting. See, every customer will have a customer ID. So one customer ID having multiple TOD sanction, because each TOD will have a unique the number. So unique OD number. So temporary OD number. So so very important. So customer wise, you can actually take one count. How many ad hoc sanctions are multiple? Temporary ODs or ad hoc sanctions are given during the year, which will be a separate code number. There will be a separate code number. That code number will be there in the system manual. You can just pull out all those things. And especially I used to make this point very important here. A combo of a senior chartered accountant with a young chartered accountant, with a youngster or young, article associate. So they are the guys who can actually sit and maybe give these inputs, get the reports, and those reports has to be properly timely forwarded to the senior partner or the partner, so in charge. So the conclusion can be drawn perfectly. So number one, what is the total number of ad hoc sanctions made during the year 2021? So 743. Out of 743, you find out the customer-wise temporary ODs. So customer ID wise, how many temporary ODs are given as a list? In that each one customer ID, one temporary OD. Very good, leave it. That doesn't form part of your audit basket. One customer ID, multiple ODs. And that you have to sort it out in descending order and take a sample of 2 or 3 or 10 from that, and maybe you can ask, so why a single customer ID has been given multiple TODs? So all this, actually, if you don't pull out the data, you will not get this answer at all. You will actually have a feel that, okay, this is already part of, this is not happening at all. It will not come to our attention at all. So I want to bring many such pointers, and I'm sure once I ignite your mind will actually think in all those, not in one direction, but all 8 directions it will think. So again, I want to say the same in Hindi, dimag ka batti jala denge. So the moment I make your mind, the bulb to glow, it will automatically, you will actually think in those directions. Now, please look at this. The next point which I want to bring to your kind attention to all of you is item number 5. I want, why I'm not keen in this KYC AML guidelines, but I'm only keen on only one aspect. That, please look at this. The auditor should verify circular, etc. Please look at this. Should verify on sample basis the responses by the branch to AML alert received from the head office along with supporting for responses. So the observation what I want to bring to your kind attention is, it is sample audit. It is sample audit, and now I'm bringing it to SA 530, very important. And not only here, please look at the next observation, whether the branch followed the KYC AML guidelines or test check carried out by the branch auditors. So they are making it a point that you have to only do test check. Okay, it is only audit sampling. Now, how your sample should be? That is the next question. And will it fit to the auditing standard? And I'll bring to your kind attention to SA 530. Okay, so SA 530. SA 530 is your audit sampling. This standard is a very important standard, and I'll bring to your kind attention. Yes, audit sample. Yes, this is SA 530, and here I will take you to the appendix. Please look at this appendix 1. All this, what is sample size, design, everything they will speak about it. And I want to make one observation that standard itself makes it a point that you have to go for sample only. Please look at this. So the objective is using audit sampling to provide a reasonable basis to draw conclusions. Very good. Now, how do you do it? That's the question. Okay. So now I'll bring your kind attention to appendix 1. This is appendix 1. This is appendix 1. Now here, I will make this point very clear. So you have the huge list of advances, okay? ODs, temporary ODs, educational loans, jewel loans, and okay, so working capital loans, CC loans. So all this stuff is there. So now from that list, which one should I take? Should I have to do 100% audit? So how do I do that? So how do I select a sample? Actually, I want to make one observation here. I belong to a second generation practitioner. So I'm a second generation practitioner. So when I used to accompany my father, so 20, 30 years back, so during the bank audits, so at that point of time, my father used to interact with the bankers, and the trial balance will be given, the list of advances will be given, and with 10 to 15 minutes of discussion. So he will actually zero in on out of the 20, 30 advances list. So 2 or 3 he will actually select. He'll say, bring those files, let me actually go through. So this kind of sampling is called as judgmental sampling. Judgmental sampling. And at the end of the day, he would have got such very good audit points he would have got it. And while we were retiring back, I used to ask this question to my dad. So how you were able to select that too as the sample, audit sample, and you were able to get audit points from that. So how you were able to do that? So he will only give one answer. That is experience. That is experience. So that is why I used to say the combo of the senior chartered accountants with the junior will actually, that flavor is a very good mix. But whether judgmental sampling is acceptable in SA 530? No. No. Judgmental sampling is not, because maybe 20, 30 years back, we didn't have SA 530, and that was actually developing. But today, they say it is called probability sampling. Yeah, it is called probability sampling, and you need to be scientific. You need to be scientific. You cannot, of course, you have to apply the judgmental also. Maybe from the sample, you can actually confirm whether your judgment sample forms part of that. Else you can include it. You can add 1 or 2 additionally. That is next step. I will call it as an additional step. But our SA 530 recommends only probability sampling. Now, what do you call this probability? Otherwise, what do you call it as the sampling risk will be more, meaning your sample is a biased sample. Why did you select this? You could have selected that. So that is the question which the auditor may face. So how do you actually counter this particular point? I want to actually give references to some of the paragraphs in LFAR technical guide, also with respect to the paras, the appendix 1. Please look at this. Stratification and value weighted selection. This is the answer. This is the answer. Now, what do you mean by stratification? So, where the moment you take a population, you take a size. For example, you take a list of CC accounts, okay, and there are 129 accounts. 129 accounts. So that is population. So this 129 accounts, how will you actually, every time will you actually make that list of accounts in descending order and take the top 10 or top 20? No. You need to actually first group it. So it is called stratification. So the efficiency may be improved if the auditor stratifies the population by dividing into discrete means unique subpopulation which have an identifying characteristics. So maybe you can have some limits, you can have some geography, so or you can go by some industry. So some logic you need to actually develop and design. And especially in some of the branches, stratification will be difficult because the entire borrowers may belong to one particular industry only. Then you have to go by maybe a geography or maybe by size or by the type of entity. Some logic you need to actually bring it out and then group it into 3-4 clusters. Okay, that's called strata. That's called strata. So this is the first one. So I think if you do this, and from each of the strata, from each of the subgroup, from each of the subpopulation, you can select 1 or 2 using random numbers. So using random numbers or value weighted selection. What do you mean by value weighted selection? So that you can go by the closing balances, or you can go by the amount that has been sanctioned. So based on that, you can actually have some cumulative numbers and then go by what do you call it as random number selection, and then you can select. So this actually you need not do it by spend your time and all. The moment the data are the list is available in a soft format, you can import it in your Excel. In Excel itself, you have the stratification mechanism, and you can also assign the random numbers and then select based on the random numbers. So I think that will actually save a lot of time. And this small exercises of stratification and value weighting selection and all, these are all very simple arithmetic process. I think we need to actually practice a bit, maybe 5 to 10 minutes extra time will take us through a spreadsheet package, and that can give us a comfort, that can give us the clarity that your data that has been selected is actually a probability sampling, and it doesn't, I repeat the word, it doesn't have any mix of judgmental sampling. Okay, so very important. And now I am going to bring your kind attention to page number 83 of our the long form, the technical guide. This is that 83. And here I want to bring your kind attention, especially guys, please look at this. What is the purpose? Okay, what is the purpose? The guiding principles on the objective strategies and branch auditors. So here I'll bring your attention, guys. The overall objective should be to have transaction testing and provide inputs to central statutory auditors on adequacy of implementation of and give assurance from the branch level. Yeah, from branch level, the inputs are proper, adequacy of control is there, data integrity is there, which is very important. Now, please look at this. This LFAR is the input for central statutory auditors as well as for banks, both. And this is the communication. And you, by giving your LFAR, you are committing. You are actually committing that at the branch level, the transactions are tested, and the data integrity with respect to the inputs are proper. The input controls are proper. So what we call it as the parameters. Parameters are only set at the branch levels. So when the account is opened, when the CC account is opened, the parameters are set. And parameters are set at where? Parameters are not set at head office. Parameters are set only at the branch level. And parameters can be two types. One is a financial parameters, another is a non-financial parameters. Now, what is a non-financial parameters? Name, address, PAN, Aadhaar. Okay, so all this are non-financial parameters, including date of birth, the date of incorporation. Now, what are all financial parameters? The 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 drawing power, okay, and the sanction limit, and what is the exposure of the collateral security, what is the primary security exposure, and what is the latest valuation that was done, and what is the valuation amount, and when is the next valuation due, and what is the rate of interest, and rate of interest is applicable from what amount to what amount. So all this stuff will be there. So that is actually the financial parameters. And recently there is a notification which has been brought out by the Ministry of Corporate Affairs, where edit log, and I want all of you to actually pay kind attention to this word called edit log. Now, what is called as edit log? Edit log means, and they made it very clear that the accounting softwares used by companies, okay, from 1st of April 2021, they must have a edit log enabled in their accounting softwares. This is a very fundamental thing I want to mention. This is actually an integrity control. This is actually an integrity control, and this is already there in CBS. And I want all of you to actually pull out those edit logs and then do the analysis. I'll just share with you some of the interesting, what do you call it, as reports. For example, please look at this report. Please look at this report. List of accounts wherein refacement is carried out in CBS. Actually, there is no concept called refacement. It is only called restructuring. And during the year, the the COVID-19 regulatory package announced by Reserve Bank of India in the month of August 2020, they have mandated that the micro, small and medium enterprises who have an exposure not more than 25 crores, they can actually restructure themselves before 31st of March 2021. Second, with respect to the large borrowers, they have to actually submit what do you call it, as a resolution plan, and the resolution plan has to be vetted and sanctioned by the bank, and only then the restructuring happens. And again, any downgrading of the account has to be actually upgraded to the existing level as on 1st of April 2021. So all this stuff is there. Now, please understand, list of accounts wherein refacement is carried out in CBS. So what do you mean by refacement? Refacement is actually not, it is actually restructuring only. Like for example, delay in what do you call it, as a deferment of EMIs, or reduction of EMIs, or increasing the tenor, or increasing the moratorium period from 3 months to 6 months to 1 year. So all this stuff, actually the 3 months moratorium was given and then it was extended for a 6 month moratorium. This change, is it called as refacement? Actually, there is no concept called refacement. It is only called restructuring. It is restructuring. So therefore, how it will be done? They will log into the account. I repeat. So I was referring to that parameter setting. I was referring to the parameter setting. In the parameter setting, they will actually tune. It is called restructuring, or it's called refacement, or whatever term they use there. So they will actually defer the whatever the calculations within the system that has to do. For example, the levy of interest, levy of penal interest will be delayed. So that means they have to log into the console, open the parameters, and in the parameters, they have to, the counters, they have to actually change the dates from when the penal interest has to start, or when the EMI has to fall due, or when the EMI amounts, they will decrease it. Okay, so all this stuff they would have done it. They would have done it during the year. Now, this would have been captured in edit log. I repeat the word, it would have been captured in edit log. Now, what is called as edit log? Now, log means whatever that is entered in the CBS, it will be registered in a list. It is called as a log file. It is called transaction log file. Transaction log file is all transactions gets listed up. Now, edit log is whenever you make any changes to an existing account, especially parameter settings you change, that will be saved in an edit log. That edit log file, you have to take it out and then analyze, and especially edit log with respect to CC account, edit log with respect to OD account, edit log with respect to TOD account, edit log with respect to educational loan account, edit log with respect to housing loan account, edit log with respect to the jewel loan account. So each and every edit logs, you have to actually pull it out and then do the analysis. So what was the original data? What was the edited data? And what was the original data when it was edited, and what was edited? And this editing, you can actually pull it out and then take 3 or 4 items, and maybe a sample you can select 10, 20, pull those files. On what basis this refacement or restructuring has happened? Was it done voluntarily or was based on the request given by the customer? So that has to be verified. So this is actually what we call it as the adequacy of internal control. The adequacy of internal control, the adequacy of data integrity. So how data integrity is actually maintained. Now I want to bring your kind attention to this place. Please look at this. The threshold fixed for various different purposes. I'm sorry, this sentence, all of you. The LFAR does not only expect to bring a transaction level issues, but is also expect comments on adequacy of controls. This is very important, and this is what is expected. So it is not balance sheet audit or P&L audit alone. Balance sheet and P&L is known to the headquarters itself. It is already known there. It is there. But what is expected is whether adequacy of control, whether that the information which is captured ultimately, whether the process they have followed the data integrity controls, and there is and you have done the test checking. You have done the test checking, especially what you call the transaction testing. You have done the transaction testing, and there are in a year. There are 2 lakh transactions or 20 lakh transactions. 20 lakh transaction need not be tested. Have you tested 20? Have you tested 50? Have you tested 100? That is sufficient. That is sufficient. And that selection of sample size, testing, and then concluding. Oh, everything I have done, I have seen it. That is most important. That is most important. That is what is expected. That is what is it. Which banks cannot do, which central auditors cannot do. And central auditors are dependent on the branch auditors with respect to this one. So you give the confidence, you give the comfort to the central auditors with respect to this aspect. Okay, good. Now, I want to bring, please look at this. This is very important. The threshold, fixed tickets, everything is fine. In revised LFAR, the RBI expects transaction level comes on large borrower and details about sampling. On what basis? And you can even give a small comment about sample. On what basis you have actually selected a sample. Okay, that also you can give. You can say, I have done the sample based on scientific method. It is probability sampling. And we have done stratification. So we have grouped it and then we have selected sample. So your sample can be small, that nobody can question you. No, why you have only selected 3? You could have done 5, you could have done 10. No, 3 is 3. Have you selected 3 scientifically? That is most important. Okay. Now I want to bring your kind attention to this particular paragraph also. Very important paragraph. Please look at this. Verification of data integrity and data related control systems and process should be carried out and commented upon with the special thrust on those data inputs which are to be used for MIS at corporate office level and for supervisory reporting purpose. Now I'll bring your attention to some interesting this is very important. I will call this as a very important. Please see. This is actually an off-balance sheet item. This is actually an off-balance sheet item, and I request the branch auditors to kindly put your attention to this particular aspect. See, this is LCs and the bank guarantees. I'll give 3 examples. One is during the year, LCs are opened. Okay. And LCs which were opened last year. Okay. Well, I'll take only one example. LCs or BG. Bank guarantees. Bank guarantees which were actually opened last year and closed during the year. Number 1. So number 2, bank guarantees which were opened during the year and closed during the year. Number 3, the bank guarantees which is still open. And most important, if it is closed, if it is expired, is it closed? Now I'll give you one more interesting, I'll call this as one more report, which is a very important, this is a very important report. The bank guarantees which are expired. Okay, what do you mean by bank guarantees expired? Bank guarantee which were issued in the month of February 2020. Okay, which is for a 9 months period. So 9 months period means February, March, April, May, June, July, August, September, October. So October 2020, it would have expired. Now, if it is expired, it should be reversed. So how many bank guarantees were issued last year and continuing this year? That you will know from your last year closing. And oh, I'm sorry for that break. So I was referring to a very, very important aspect. This is bank guarantees which were opened last year, continued till 31st March 2020, and which got expired during the year. So similarly, bank guarantees which are open during the year and which got expired during the year. So these two lists, has it been closed? Has it been reversed? Or is it rolled over? So how will we know this? So unless and otherwise you go into the system, take the report and then do a sample verification, then only we will know that it has been reversed. It's a very, very important tip I just want to share with all of you. And last but not the least, I'll just take another 2 more minutes, and then I'll close my session. I want your kind attention to this particular paragraph. The correctness of data depends on the information entered at branch level, and the controls of the branch gain importance. So this is the foremost thing, please keep it in your mind. So as branch auditors, so please don't think that no, central auditors, they do their work, they only finalize the accounts, they only sign the balance sheet, their name only will appear in the newspapers and in annual reports. So they are superior. No, they are actually dependent on the branch audit, because at the head office level, data which is entered at the branch level only we get that. So the control can be done only if the confidence is given by the respective branch. And I will bring to your kind attention the last point. The last point of discussion is this, where any of the comments made by the auditors is adverse. Very important. Very important. See, you have put some observation in that the first point what we discussed is the fraud. So we have put some observation. Now, will you qualify? So I want to bring your kind attention here. Please look at this. The auditors should test the impact of adverse comment in LFAR and check whether such comments warrant any qualification in the main audit report or adjustment in MOC. Sometimes MOC is not required. You only give the early warning signal. You only give a list of activities which may be perpetuate to fraud. Okay, so you don't say fraud, but you say it is an early warning signal. You say it is I'm only creating a red flag. I repeat, I'm only creating a red flag. So now will you actually do qualification in report? No, it's not required. So please look at this. So the comment on inadequacy of control. So this is very important. And we'll take it very seriously as central auditors. This is the point we want. This is the point we want. Because at headquarters level, we need to actually comment about the adequacy of controls. And how can we comment about the adequacy of controls at headquarters level? Unless and otherwise it is test checked at the branch level. So this is a very, very important, I will say, a connect between branch auditors and central auditors. So I will say you have to bring sound means both the hands you must actually clap. So the main hand is actually the right hand is the branch auditors. Branch auditors. The comment on the inadequacy of control may not result in qualification in main audit report, but a comment on the depletion, etc., that will come as an MOC. So please be very clear that the role of branch auditors are very, very crucial. And don't think, please don't think that I am only a branch auditor if I comment that there is control is weak with respect to TOD. Control is weak with respect to the various ad hoc sanctions that is given. Will it make a difference? It will make a difference. It will make a difference. So even one auditor has mentioned it. One branch auditor has mentioned it. I say this very seriously. Out of 1,400 branches, one auditor has mentioned, we will take it. We want that point. And we will say this, with respect to this, control is inadequate, so it has to be tightened. And over. No, sir, 1,399 branches, they have not said anything about it. No. We will not go by that. We want that one auditor's point, very important. So very serious. This is very, very serious. And that is why whatever you put in LFAR, it goes, it cannot be undone. It cannot be undone. And that is very, very serious. It is sacrosanct. It is very important. It's very important. So I must thank Visakhapatnam branch for giving this wonderful opportunity to me to share my thoughts on the expectations of central auditors and banks, and also giving me an opportunity to connect some of the important standards on auditing, which is relevant from the branch audit perspective. So thank you very much. And I'll be open for any questions and for any reflections.
Speaker sir, one more request from our members. So will you please enlighten about the recent Supreme Court decision on this bank audit, this advances, NPAs regulations? So will you please enlighten on the recent decision of Supreme Court, sir?
Sir, this is a very interesting case that was going on. It is actually, I will call it as a consortium of borrowers, individuals who have actually represented Supreme Court that waiver of, please understand, there is a difference between waiver of interest and waiver of interest on interest. So what is interest? On the amount which is borrowed, we calculate interest. And whenever there is a default or delay in payment of the interest, or we call it as EMI. EMI includes your principal and interest. So whenever there is a delay or default in payment of EMI or interest, the system will actually trigger to levy what you call it as interest on interest. I repeat the word, interest on interest. So that is, you call it as penal interest. Now, is it warranted? Now, as per the terms of agreement between the banker and the borrower, that will be levied. But being the pandemic or an exceptional time, this levy of penal interest, otherwise called interest on interest, should be done away with. This is the request. So it is not a waiver of interest. It is actually a request to waive interest on interest. So which was actually it is actually having an impact on our IRAC norms also, our what do you call it as our NPA provisioning and all this stuff. It will actually have a bearing. And based on the Supreme Court's direction. Now, what is the direction of Supreme Court? The Supreme Court has made it very clear that the court has not interfered on levying interest, but they have actually given a very big, what do you call it, as an order that levying interest on interest in the name of penal interest should not be done, especially during the pandemic period. So that is the decision. Now, how it will have an impact on our income recognition and with respect to NPA provisioning. So all this, Reserve Bank of India is silent as of today. Please don't think that they are silent. They are going to come out with a notification very soon. So that too before 31st of March it will come. So which will have, that is why you are able to see by default there are a lot of holidays from 20 from 29 30 there are a lot of holidays. First is holiday, second, third, you have Lord Jesus also has been very kind enough to the Good Friday and everything is also coming. And in Tamil Nadu, April 6th is election. So 5th by default is holiday, 6th is an election day. So this period will not be an audit period. This period will be there will be n number of what do you call it as developments which will happen. Please wait and very closely watch the Reserve Bank of India's website, especially with respect to the NPA provisioning as of 31/3/2021. Still it is open only. I repeat, still it is open. And the guidance note which has been brought out by the institute is as of date, whatever the Reserve Bank of India's notification and clarification that has been brought out. But still, there is a possibility of a new notification that can come before 31st March. So that is the present state.
So thank you, sir, for clarification. And one of the member, CA Avinash Gudwada, sir, what's ideal sampling? It's based on percentage of outstanding balance or covering number of accounts category wise and any specific percentage to be covered? Please clarify, sir.
Wow, good question. Mr. Avinash ji, SA 530. I have read this SA 530 because I am actually a mathematics student and sampling is a very favorite topic to me. So especially I used to handle this particular topic to the audit officers, senior audit officers of the AG Accountant General team. And they used to ask me the same question. So, sir, which is an ideal audit sample size? So, you will be surprised that our standard SA 530 never ever say this is the ideal sample size. Please read it. 530 fully, please read it. Is it 3 or 30? For example, I'll just put a simple question. Your population is 100. Your population is 1000. I'll put a question. Just because your population is 1000, should you go for a bigger sample size? No. Your population is 100 compared to 1000, so I will go for a smaller sample size. No. So it is not the population that matters. What is significant is your sample a representative of the population? That is a question. So that is why if your population itself is a heterogeneous population, classify it, stratify it, and then select 2 or 3. Even 2 or 3 is a sample. I repeat, 2 or 3 is a sample. Now, how do you select 2 or 3? That only makes it an ideal sample. Your question is actually ideal sample. Your question is valid because the 2, 3 which you select should be based on your audit risk. I repeat, your audit risk. Higher the audit risk, lower the sample size. I repeat, higher the audit risk, lower the sample size. Lower the audit risk, higher the sample size. So that means, for example, audit risk is not there. Then you have to increase your sample size to confirm that your audit risk is not there. What do you mean by audit risk is not there? Your team is very good. You have an excellent, what do you call it, number crunching skills. You know Excel, you know Access, you know a spreadsheet, you know how to analyze the data using the system, all this stuff. So that is called audit risk. Now, what is higher audit risk? Higher audit risk means my team is a young team. First time I'm taking the new team. They are not well, what do you call it, as knowledgeable or experienced to actually find out the audit points. Then auditor has the audit risk. So then, if audit risk is high, sample size is low. If audit risk is low, sample size should be more to compensate that. So with 3 or 4 itself, you can actually get your audit points, provided it should be a probability sampling. What is probability sampling? Go by random number. That is the best method of selecting a sample. So never bother about 3 is a small number, 30 is a big number. No. 5 is also a correct number. 3 is also an ideal number. So there is no word called ideal sample. It is only connected to your audit risk. You need to actually ensure my audit risk is actually very low because my team is very strong. My team is knowledgeable. I have the best gadgets and the tools to do the analysis. So therefore, my audit risk is low. If my audit risk is low, my sample size I have to increase to ensure my audit risk is low. So very interesting question, sir. Thank you.
So members, if any one of you have any queries, please unmute yourself and you can pose your question so that our learned speaker will clarify your doubts and queries. Unmute yourself.
Yeah, I think we can request a few of the members to share their views too.
Sir, I mentioned in the chat box, it's an excellent presentation and we cannot miss on any of the points which you have mentioned. Thank you, sir.
Oh, wonderful.
Sir, he is our past chairman, sir, Ramakrishna Posarla.
Ah, wow. Ramakrishna Garu. So we'll request Mr. Ramakrishna Pusarla to kindly unmute and share his thoughts, please. Ramakrishna Garu.
Yeah, I am only mentioning that, sir.
Oh, wow. Oh, thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, I'll start the video also. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. So none of the points can be missed out. Whatever you said, they should be taken care. Thank you, sir.
Maybe we'll request some 2 members to share their views. Mr. Vaikuntha Rao.
Mr. Avinash Gudwada.
Mr. Suraj Agarwal.
Elan Bharti Garu.
Yes, Mr. Bharti Garu. You can unmute, sir, please.
Avasarala Srinivas Garu.
Okay, sir, I think you can conclude.
Sir, this is excellent presentation, sir. That's why nobody is asking.
So no one has any doubts, sir, after your session. So
Actually, I gave highlight only. It's a very good.
That is sufficient, sir. Pointers.
Yes.
Just now you told, no, Sam, 2 are sufficient, but it gives these 2 points are sufficient to because the data integrity is the main criteria.
That is the main criteria.
That is the main point, data integrity.
Right.
Because that is the main. Because this bank guarantee lapsed or bank guarantee extended. That is very, very good because SA 530, what you referred, that is important topic. The basic idea is these standards of auditing and interconnected with the standards of auditing and as well as the audit point of view and the expectation from the general auditors. So all the
sir, I have one question for bank guarantee.
Yes, sir, please.
I am Anandrao from Jaipur, Orissa.
Yes, Mr. Anandrao.
Sir, my question is, it's an NPA account, but bank guarantees are renewed. Because once one facility is NPA, all facilities should not be put into operation. But bank guarantees, they are renewing. Bank please that if it is not renewed, they will invoke, then it will be a funded liability. So
Absolutely.
my question is, why when the bank guarantee is not due for renewal, or if it is due for renewal, it should not be renewed?
Sir, it's actually a very valid point. I will call from a different perspective. I'll from a banker perspective, I'll say, because Mr. Vasudeva Murthy Garu also can supplement me. Generally, the business continuity of the borrower is very crucial, and the funded and non-funded support both are given. And in funded support, he has actually defaulted. And because of the non-funded facilities, can I extend? This is the fundamental question.
Yes.
So here, just because in funded facility he has actually defaulted and it has slipped to NPA. Technically, the entire borrower has to be what do you call it as watched, and his entire facility has to be monitored. This is the objective. But renewing the bank guarantee and extending the facility, this requires what you call it as a special consideration. So at the time of renewal, the bank is aware about it. So funded, non-funded. So non-funded has to be extended. Now this facility, it is almost like rather than giving a funded facility, you are giving a non-funded facility and extending it. And here you need to actually what do you call it, a special consideration. So it has to be escalated to the respective authority and let them take a call. No. As an extraneous circumstances for business continuity should not be affected. So therefore, this particular bank guarantee is extended. So what do you call it as whenever such extension happens, there should be, the bank should be aware about it. And bank is taking a calculated risk. I repeat the word. The bank is taking a calculated risk. Then the auditor can be satisfied and convinced. If that is not happening, meaning controls are not there, please bring it to the LFAR, that inadequacy of control with respect to that. So this is.
And also, what is the situation? It is D3. So against the funded, 100% is there, 100% provision is there. But for this bank guarantee, they are going on renewing. They say that there is no RBI guideline, there is no bank policy. For that reason, in order to avoid funded liability, we are renewing. Is it correct or not?
No, sir. That oral explanation cannot be accepted. It should be, I repeat the word, a calculated risk has been considered by the bank, and then only it has been. So some authority has to actually sign saying that yes, this can be renewed. It cannot be done, what do you call it as by default. It should not be done because it is an extraneous circumstances. So they have to record the reason, and it should be on file, and one particular officer, it should have been escalated to the respective authority, maybe at RO level or at zonal level, and they should have given permission to actually extend it. So by default, manager not taking any action and then recording the reasons and then extending as a routine affair is actually you have to bring it to your attention in LFAR that controls are not there.
Sir, one supplement.
Sir, here my submission is they have to see whether these bank guarantees are backed by 100% cash match.
100%, there is no problem, sir. Bank guarantee 100% cash margin, there is no problem. Because security is there. Sir, okay? Sir, can I go for another question?
Yeah, please, sir.
I just a small supplement on this, sir. The
Oh.
minister was saying there is no bank policy. So that itself
Hmm.
is a very serious issue.
Yeah,
Yes, yes,
that is
yes.
what I say.
Yes,
So if the
yes.
bank policy is not there, that means nobody wants to take any
That is
responsibility.
very
Yes.
Then you bring it in attention of LFAR and let Central Auditors take a call on it.
Sir, I am the Central Auditor, IOB. I have taken this point twice to ACB. No action.
Super, sir. You are absolutely correct, sir. I am with you. I am with you.
Sir, another question. Time is there or over?
Yeah, you can take, sir, please.
Sir, in case of NPA, the security portion, what happened when the case had gone to NCLT? There is a resolution professional. NCLT resolution professional values the securities. So what is the value of security as per the ACF and resolution professional security? Both are variation. Suppose as per ACF, it is 100 rupees. As per resolution professional, value is 50 rupees. We suggest that 50 rupees is to be taken as a security value, not 100. But the consent says that where is that? You say that we have to take as a resolution professional value. I say as a prudential note, whichever value less is there, you have to take for provisioning. But they say you saw the circular. Circular says, RBI says fair market value or realizable value, whichever is less. And it should be certified by the registered valuer. Resolution professional is not the registered valuer. How to resolve?
Absolutely correct. Absolutely correct. So because once it goes to insolvency process, within 47 days, the registered valuer has to be appointed and the fair value and the liquidation value has to be ascertained by the resolution professional. Resolution professional cannot do the valuation. So he becomes a related party, he becomes an interested party. So that is why an independent registered valuer who is in no way connected with insolvency professional from the panel of IBBI, they will be asked to do the valuation. Sometimes the value can be high or low also. We need to actually take that value, that registered valuer's value only as final with respect to provisioning purpose. What you say is correct, sir.
Okay, sir. Thank you. I have joined in late.
Sir,
Okay.
here, this normally the resolution professional, what they are doing the valuation, whoever appointed, they are not doing the valuation as a going concern concept. Because as per this insolvency norms also, this valuation should be done as a going concern.
Yeah.
Because some of the valuers who are appointed by the insolvency professional, they are doing the valuation, it is not as a going concern. When it is not a going concern, automatically the valuation will be very low. It should be valued as a going concern. In spite of the case has gone to NCLT, because it means, it does not mean we have to value as not a going concern. Even in insolvency clauses also, the valuation is to be done as a going concern. That's my
That is why, sir, your point is absolutely correct. Just because the word liquidation value is there, it doesn't mean that the company will be pushed to liquidation. What they need to actually ascertain is, in case that is why in liquidation, they don't call that valuation called liquidation. They call it as realizable value. So therefore, what is fair value and what is called as a realizable value in case of an extraneous circumstances. So that probability is very less unless and otherwise the company is going for a liquidation, and that too piecemeal sale of assets can be done. Sale as a going concern will actually fetch more higher value, sometimes even greater than the fair value also. Sometimes even greater than the fair value. So therefore, it all depends upon the market. It all depends upon the capability, business potential of that particular company. So that is most relevant. So I appreciate the point of Vasudev Murthy Garu said, and resolution professional has to actually highlight and inform appropriately the registered valuer to consider this while doing the valuation.
Okay, sir, nothing from me.
So thank you very much.
Any other member?
Hand over back to secretary and chairman, sir. Thank you.
So any other member? So there are some messages in the chat box. Gopal sir, as young member, we learned ground reality and expectations from central auditors and points to be analyzed regarding transaction testing and adequacy of control apart from all other audit points. From Mr. Avinash Gudwada.
Thank you.
So if any other members have any doubts or queries?
You want answer from central auditor, or you want answer from the speaker?
No, he is giving his reflections, sir.
Yes, sir.
Means, how to test?
No. He is actually
giving his feedback.
summarizing. He is whatever I spoke.
Okay.
He summarized it in 2 lines. So he is actually he is a first bench student, sir. So
So thank you, sir. Thank you very much for your elaborate explanation and deliberations. Now I request the Secretary Prashant Kumar to propose vote of thanks.
Respected Chairman, CAS Murali Krishna Garu, today's learned speaker, Dr. C.A. Gopal Krishna Raju ji, senior members, professional colleagues, and ladies and gentlemen, good evening to all. It is my privilege to propose vote of thanks on my own behalf and on behalf of the members of the Visakhapatnam branch. I convey my heartfelt gratitude to Dr. C.A. Gopal Krishna Raju ji for accepting our invitation, being with us to express your explanatory deliberations on the topic, audit standards on bank branch audit and on the expectations of central auditors from the branch auditors. Sir, your illustrated presentation and pinpoint explanation on the audit standards and its impact on the LFER is amazing. I strongly believe that all our members benefited and got a better understanding on the expectations of the central auditors from what they are expecting from the branch auditors. Really, we are thank you, sir, as you are having a busy schedule and your profile shows that you are how much learned speaker, and we are very fortunate to have here. Thank you very much, sir. And I also convey my thanks to all members who joined in the seminar. And also I thanks to all the members who are given a good feedback on the speaker. And I also thankful to our chairman. He's covered in all aspects from the bank audit. He conducted around 2 to 3 audits. I think he never left any point for conducting another seminar for bank audit. He covered all the speakers very nicely, sir. Thank you very much, Chairman, sir. And I'm all the thankful to all the members of Visakhapatnam branch. Thank you very much, sir.
thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Gopal Krishna, thank you very much, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Gopal Krishna Raju garu, namaste.